What's good job, man? It's your boy Yashay, man. Back at y'all with another reaction, and we back at our with another reaction, man. This is part 2 of hearing about the wolf and the Skinwalker. Where last time we saw, bro, it was a giant wolf, bro, that's moving like a snake towards these niggas, and they just staring at it in fascination. They fascination gonna end up in their cremation. But anyway, we getting into the video. If you like the video, leave a like so more people can see my content. And also hit that sub button if you're interested in this content and you're new here. But with that being said, link to the video gonna be in the description down below. If I ain't already say that, let's get into the video.
Vanished. So this is day 1 of being at this ranch. And they're all on edge now. The whole family is on edge. They really don't know what to make of that wolf. The sheer size of it, the fact that it was totally unaffected by being shot multiple times. You know, there's real concern over their own livelihood because they keep cattle and they're only going to have more that are going to be out in these pens. And if there are wolves that are 3 times the size of a normal wolf that are walking around killing cattle, that's a big problem if you own cattle. And so they're on edge, and they're all in a way trying almost not to talk about how crazy and how bizarre that encounter with the wolf was. They're just like, they're treating it like it's just a normal predator problem. Like, man, we gotta get those wolves, we gotta protect our cattle. But in the back of everybody's minds, they're like, something very strange is happening here. Gwen, she was having some other very strange things that were happening to her that she was not tying.
So we was talking about Gwen. Is it Spider Gwen, or is this Ben Tennyson Gwen? You know what I mean?
To the wolf thing. She was just noticing a couple of distinct things that were happening to her that made her think that she actually had a very real like medical problem. The 2 things happened. One, in that first week, she had gone to the grocery store, and when she came back, she put the groceries away, and then she left to go to the other room, and when she came back, all the groceries were now back in the bags. And so for like 20 minutes, she's just sitting there like dumbfounded with, did I put the groceries away? Same day, she goes to take a shower, and she hangs her towel, and she takes a shower, and then when she gets out, the towel's missing. And she's like, huh. She gets another towel and she towels off, and then she finds the towel hanging up in a closet on the other side of the house. And so between the groceries and the towel, she's like, is there something wrong with me? Am I like having...
Nah, that's a spirit. That Skinwalker messing with your head. Messing with your brain, because it knows if I make her think she's crazy, she's gonna act. Well, if I do things that make her think she's crazy, she's gonna think she's crazy. So then I can mess with her more. You know what I mean? It's all just a setup. It's a setup for the trap. First, I gotta get your mind equipped for it. Then I can trap you and mess you up completely. That's what this dude is doing, bro. Check me out. Watch how it plays out. Watch what I say. Watch it.
Having a stroke? Am I having a medical issue here that I'm like literally losing my mind? And it wasn't until Terry actually had a similar experience that she started to wonder if this had to do with maybe that strangeness with the wolf, that maybe there's just something odd happening about this property. And it was Terry in that...
Y'all just now thinking something odd is going on with this property? After seeing a 3 times normal size wolf that you can't kill by shooting and beating it up, that slither to you like a snake, and your door, find out in the video before this about the deadlocked door.
First week, he had been digging holes for a new fence, and he had this big fence digging tool. It was about 70 pounds that he was using to dig the holes for the fence. And so he had taken a break after making a bunch of posts for this fence. He took a break, left his fence digging tool, you know, at the last place he had dug a post, and he went in to grab a bite to eat, came back out, and his fence digger is missing. And initially he just goes into the house and he's like, hey, you know, to his wife, to his kids, like, did you guys move my fence digger? Like, do you know what happened to it? Like, where is it? It's not out there. And they're like, no, we've been in the house the whole time. I have no idea. And so they couldn't find it. And a week goes.
And then wolf came by. You're messing with my land. You're messing with my property.
By, and he's out patrolling his property looking for wolves. And in the tree, like well away from where he had been digging the post before, in the tree, his fence digging tool that's 70 pounds is like 70 feet in the air, strung up in this tree. So Terry comes back to the house and he tells his family about the fence digging tool being in the tree. And that's when Gwen tells Terry about her experiences with the groceries going back in the bag and a towel being moved around the house. And everybody in the family starts to really start being scared. We can't explain what's happening on this property, and we're very isolated. And what's the deal with all these locks on all the doors? I mean, they're starting to feel really concerned. Following the fence dig-
You're starting to ask the question you should have been asking to begin with. You better hope this ain't your 30 days. He said this day 1. Well, this day 2. They already made it past day 1. Shoot, y'all been in there 2 days, but y'all gonna last that 30 and have to stick with it, or you gonna get your refund.
being found, Terry started to notice lights on his property. Initially, because this was the first couple of weeks they're there, he would see lights way at the far end of his property that looked like headlights, and he would think someone must have made a wrong turn that wound up on my property, and we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and they'll just leave. And so when he first started seeing these lights, that's what he assumed it was, just people making a wrong turn. But he started to see it so often that he wondered if people were illegally hunting on his property. And so one night he sees these lights on his property and he goes out to investigate. And in fact, he's angry. He's had all these strange things happen. His family's on edge.
Now?
And now he's mad and he's going to take it out on this person who's illegally hunting on his property. And he starts charging out to these lights and he starts getting closer and closer and he starts to realize it's not making any sound. If this was like a truck, it's not making any sound. And we're in an area where I could totally hear that if it was a vehicle, and he can't hear anything. And as he gets closer and closer, the lights start retreating from him without making...
My nigga, is you Scooby-Doo, bro? Scooby-Doo! Nigga, is you Scooby-Doo, bro? Why you investigating, bro? That's a mystery. That's a mystery you shouldn't solve, bro. That's a mystery you just leave and let it be.
A sound, and then float up into the sky and disappear. And Terry's like, what is going on here? The winter rolls around and it's a particularly brutal winter. And one night he couldn't account for one of his cows. And so he's out looking for this one stray cow and he searches his whole property and there's only one area that he hasn't searched, and it's that forest where that giant wolf had disappeared after marching in there, and they tracked it in there. And so he goes in there, and as soon as he gets to the tree line, he notices there's a bunch of footprints from what looks like a cow. And he's relieved because it's probably...
Also, before he get into the next scene or event that's going on in this story, why would you investigate it by yourself? Bro, if something happened to you, your family don't know nothing. All they know is you went outside to go investigate a light and never came back. Now they gotta go out and find where you at and try and find a light to see if you're over there with a light at. That was not smart. That was not smart. That could get all of y'all killed off of that one thing. And you already know your whole land is weird, bro. You got lights popping up and then you got snake moving wolves coming at you that can't be killed. What was you gonna do if it was the wolf, bro? If you made it all the way over there and it was a trap made by the wolf and then he bites your head for being somewhere you're not supposed to be at. What then? See, people don't be thinking, bro.
He follows it into the woods, and much like the wolf that had just disappeared in that muddy, sodden area in the forest, in the same spot, the footprints that appeared to be this cow had also just, disappeared. And then over the course of the remainder of the winter, that would happen 4 more times. He would just the animals would run away and just disappear without a trace. By the end of the winter, after all these animals have just mysteriously disappeared,
the cow jumped over the moon.
Terry and his family, but Terry in particular, has really gone into full paranoia mode. He, at night, would just like stalk his own property, like hiding behind bushes with his weapon, and like hope to see what was taking his.
What was you gonna do, bruh? You gonna hide in bushes and wait for this wolf that disappeared in thin air? This wolf is 3 times the size of a normal wolf. You gonna wait in the bushes, looking around, trying to find this wolf. What was the mission, bro? What was the mission? How you gonna complete this mission, bro? Like, what's the point? It's a pointless effort when you could just, you still got them 30 days, my nigga. You better get your refund and dip.
Cattle. And so one night, as he's doing another fruitless search around his property, he catches out of his periphery what looks like a kind of mass of something moving around in the
Get out of Dodge.
trees near his property. And at this point, he was kind of obscured by some shrubs and some plants. And so he kind of crouched down and looked out at the tree line. And he sees in the tree line this like strange shape kind of moving about inside of the trees. And he would describe,
Bro, that's that wolf is sitting in the tree line like, move like a snake. Move like a snake.
the mass as looking almost like a stealth fighter jet, but really small. And it was making no sound, and it was hovering about 20 feet off the ground. And he's crouched down, not making a sound, watching it. And it's just kind of like moving around the tree line, and it has these lights that looks to be kind of scanning the ground. And it's just kind of moving around, it's shining these lights, these multicolored lights in the ground. And Terry moves a tiny bit to get a better angle on this thing. And he makes the tiniest of noises against the brush, just like a tiny little, barely audible. And this mass that's pretty far away, the lights immediately turn off, and it angles itself so it's facing directly at Terry. And Terry can feel it right away that it's heard this tiny little sound he's made, and now it's staring directly at Terry. And Terry's like terrified, and he's looking at this thing, wondering like, oh my God, like, is it gonna come take me? Like, what is this? Is this the thing that's been taking my livestock? And he's terrified, and he's staring at it, and it just flies away. By the spring of 1995, things have gotten really, really bad for Terry and his family. Now, not only are they...
Now it's past your 30 days, bro. Now you can't get your refund. Now you stuck with it. You gonna fly away like the cow that jumped over the moon.
losing livestock inexplicably, but they're showing up. The actual cows themselves are showing up back on their property, hours or days later, just kind of in random locations on the property, and they look like they've had surgery done, like precision cuts, and pieces of them are missing. And in addition, some very strange things are happening at the house. At night, they would see these entities walking around their property, these humanoid, they described them as having no expression, just walking around their property. And
they finna come get y'all, bro. That's what they doing. They letting y'all get comfortable. They gonna be like, y'all moved in, y'all new here, so we'll give y'all a few months for y'all to get comfortable before we take y'all and experiment. We need to figure out how humans are. Bruh, why would y'all stay if y'all first night y'all see a wolf slithering towards you? That's crazy.
Sometimes they would walk right up to the glass, put their hands on the glass and look in, but there was no face. And like Terry and his family, they had blinds down, and they would use the deadbolts on every single door and window, but they could hear them rapping at the glass, and they could hear them communicating in a language they didn't understand right out.
Oh yeah, they think they're smart. We're gonna get them. Wait till that one night they forget to lock up. We're gonna take y'all home.
Side of their house. and this became so regular that it was almost impossible to sleep. Terry's kids started performing very poorly in school because they weren't sleeping. Terry's wife, Gwen, she lost her job at the bank because she wasn't sleeping and she was like delusional. They were all just at an absolute breaking point. Terry is now feeling...
Pause. Oh yeah, I'm on your ass. Why? Bro, your wife is a banker. Your wife is a banker. So she know about finances. And she know how the financial system works, bro. Why are y'all at this house with this paranormal stuff and y'all just chilling with it? Y'all just okay with it. Y'all just gonna ride with it. Y'all gonna see it through. Why didn't y'all just get your refund or talk to the realtor and make him transfer y'all to another plot of land? I'm just gonna blame it on the story. This is just like an urban story. They just say this just so it can be a story. I'm just gonna say that so I can start going. So I
totally
can be
disheartened. One night he's sitting on his porch with his rifle, and he notices out on the horizon a new phenomenon. He was used to seeing the lights on his property that would be off in the distance that would disappear, and he had previously seen that kind of like fighter jet thing that was scanning the area. Like, those were two types of lights he would see, but there was a new light he saw as he's sitting on his porch. It was almost like this orangey orb that appeared off in the distance. Since he had his rifle with a high-powered scope on it, he just lifts up his rifle and he looks through his high-powered scope and he zooms in all the way, and he can see that this orb, he describes it as a portal. That as he's looking at it, it has almost like an oval shape to it, and even though it was nighttime, in the middle of the orange orb is this blue sky. It's as if he's looking through a portal into another world where it's broad daylight and there's a sky. And he doesn't know what to make of it, but he can see that a black figure is crawling out of this portal into his property. And it looks just like the black entities that were basically walking around his property at night. In addition to these figures that are crawling, like, imagine that scene.
Hold up, pause, bro. Did he just say what I think he just said? Bro, this is an adventurous ass dad, bro. This nigga is adventurous, bro. You gonna come outside when it's blacker than me, and you got entities. You don't even know what these things are, but they don't care about nothing. They walk around your crib like, hey, knocking on the glass like, open up. We just trying to have a little fun. You know what I mean? And you outside with a sniper rifle, and you tried to shoot this thing earlier, and it had no effect. Oh yeah, you brave. You bold. Braver than I am.
From The Ring, where the girl crawls out of the well, they're crawling out of this portal into his property and then scurrying away into the tree line. And he sees weird craft as well coming into his property through this portal, and then the portal shuts and disappears. Following this night with the orange portal, Terry started to notice blue orbs that he and his family would say were the worst and most terrifying thing of all of the things they experienced. And considering they had tall, featureless black humanoids peering in their windows and rapping on their windows, that's saying something, okay? So a blue orb started showing up on their property. And the way they described it, Terry and his family, was whenever the orb came near you, it gave you this extreme sense of anxiety. It was almost like it was emitting this feeling that you automatically got, where suddenly you were unbelievably anxious and terrified of the blue orb.
They gotta be them. That's them Native Americans, bro. You wanna come by this land, you gonna feel. Since you wanna come to where we used to live at, where we came back to in our afterlife, because we couldn't have it during our life, we're gonna fuck with you. You're gonna feel all of our anxiety of what we had while they was taking our
As soon as it left, you would, not be anxious anymore. And so one night, he's sitting on his porch like he had begun doing, and he sees this orb show up on his property. And his 3 dogs are sitting with him that see the orb, and they start growling and barking.
Yeah, it's because he got them guard dogs too.
And so he lets his dogs go, thinking that maybe they can scare this thing off. And the dogs take off running towards this blue orb. And they chase it, and you can see the orb, Terry can see the orb that starts to kind of retreat. And he's thinking, oh my goodness, I finally won something. My attack dogs are going to scare this orb away. And they chase off into the woods, and he sees this thing, the blue orb, retreat into the woods.
Nah, that orb finna take them dogs.
And then when he's thinking, again, that finally, a little victory for us, he hears his dogs yelping. And he's too terrified to go check it out. And so he ends up going inside and locking the doors, locking the windows like they had been, and just kind of...
He said, them niggas. Bro, he said, them niggas. Y'all did your job. Dang, that's crazy, bro.
Retreating. So the next day, when the dogs haven't returned, Terry and his son, they go out looking for the dogs in the forest. And when they get out there, they get to a clearing, and they find 3 stacks of ashes in like little burned out circles, as if there had been a fire previously in these 3 little spots. And it turned out it was the ashes of his 3 dogs that had...
Yeah. He put them in 3 separate piles. You brought 3 dogs, I give you 3 piles. That sound like some Native American shit. You give 3 dogs, I give 3 piles of ash. But anyway, man, this already getting too long. I bet this already like. Let me check. This part 3. At least it's gonna be 3 parts, y'all. Like, don't. I'ma finish one this time. Last time I ain't finished one, cause I feel like I wanna watch it. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's a holiday, happy holidays. If it's Christmas, Merry Christmas. And if you ain't welcome nowhere else, you're welcome here. Gang, subscribe to the army, and leave a like. Like brings me out to more people so I can feel my lovely personality. And that ain't gonna do nothing but make you feel better inside, increase your generosity, and increase my velocity. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, other than that, this video is gonna be on the screen. Probably the suggestion to the last video. Nah, it is gonna be the suggestion to the first part, or whatever one you want to see next. Spread love, peace, and positivity. I'll see y'all in the next one.